The automotive sector is slowly starting to intertwine with the mining industry. As the demand for electric vehicles increases, so is the crucial need for the critical minerals, which are a key component in EV batteries. This offers an opportunity for Africa to play an increasing role in the global supply chain. For more, Martina joins us. Martina, we have seen the automotive sector as well as the mining industry start to have this relationship. Take me through why we're starting to see the symbiotic relationship and what that means.
Yeah, as you said, it's still in its infancy, I would say. The relationship means, for us coming from an African perspective, I'm president of the AAAM as well, which is the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers. Specifically, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement provides huge opportunities, which also involves local content or local value added in cars. And therefore, we would appreciate and look into opportunities also not only having African components in the cars, but also, of course, African raw materials. So that's probably one motivation. The other one is, as you're saying, more globally, the world is switching more and more to electric vehicles, and a huge part of the critical minerals for electric vehicles, as lithium, cobalt, nickel, are all in Africa. And I think that's why there is additional interest into Africa. But I would also like to highlight the potential also in the kind of well-known and established materials like copper, like aluminium, where we as an industry, I think, also diversify just where we look into and look for purchase opportunities.
With that said, what are some of the concerns for the African mining industry for automotive companies?
I wouldn't say concerns. So what in a way breaks my heart, and sorry for being so pathetic, is that, for example, none of our steel for sheet metal parts is sourced in Africa, although there is huge iron ore production or availability in Africa, as well as only a very small fraction of copper cables or copper rod is sourced in Africa. And that is mainly due to the purity and quality of the material. So I think we as an industry would love to work together with the mining to get these materials to a quality that we can source. Of course, globally, but that does not specifically talk to Africa. It's also about the standards. It's about sustainability. It's about ethical mining. It's and we kind of specifically as Volkswagen now we'll adhere to these standards, and it is an important mark for us. But that is not only talking to Africa, but it talks to wherever we purchase our products.
Building on that, are you starting to see the conversations around how do we get around the issue that you've just mentioned? I mean, I know you say it's not a concern, but how do we get to that sourcing?
I'll see more and more so between us as the end user and the mines. There's 9 tiers, so we kind of, or up to 9 tiers, not always. So we look from very far away, but of course it is of importance from us. And as far as I know, there is a lot of certificates, I think, which are important for us. Like, for example, in the copper space, Copper Mark, which of course must be adhered to in the entire value chain. But I also see a lot of a positive development from where I am, and that's, as I said, from very far away to address also sustainability issues and in Africa.
Do we need to see more investing in those manufacturing facilities, at least on the continent?
I think that is a plea I would have. And that's also something I would want to emphasize here, that the mining industry as the first tier and us as the last user, together with the governments, we jointly can try and must try, and please let us try to bring this processing industry into Africa, to add value on the African continent, to not mine here and process elsewhere, and then we buy it back. Also, Volkswagen as a global company buys it back from somewhere. There is a good example from the automotive space in South Africa, in this case, which is the platinum group metals or precious group metals, which is used for catalytic converters. And that was a joint effort between the mining industry, the automotive industry, and the government to get the processing of catalytic converters also to South Africa. Automotive has added global numbers. So we, for example, Volkswagen supply also catalytic converters to our global group. And that is a great example how you can have the value addition in Africa. And if we jointly collaborate and bring these tiers in between us, hopefully to countries in Africa.
This is your first Mining Indaba. What do you hope to achieve over the next 3 days? And I suppose as a second part to that question, what is your message for the African mining sector?
So I'm impressed, first of all. That's because Mining Indaba it's the 31st ever happening. So my first, and it is a huge event. So the magnitude of this event impresses me a lot. In South Africa, I think mining is the biggest contributor to GDP. Automotive is the second biggest. But you can see also what is moved by this industry. I'm really particularly interested to understand more of that industry, but as I said earlier on, my main message is that we need to collaborate to find these partners in between for African value addition. That's also part of the work I'm doing, but also the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers is doing. Because with the Continental Free Trade Agreement coming, and with automotive being one of the pillars, one of the 4 pillars, with local value addition needed, still the case would be we won't have 54 countries having automotive plants. So it's also about who can contribute what to the automotive value chain to build this African automotive industry. And mining and minerals and processing is a huge contribution to also spread, let's say, the opportunities which the automotive industry provides for Africa. So we're trying to make that connection. So far, it has only been on a very small scale, but I hope if the end user and the originator, if we come together and drive it collectively for the automotive in this case, we'll be very successful.
You brought up collaboration and value addition, which is quite important. From the perspective of the automotive sector, how do we future-proof the mining industry?
So, as I said, I think with us, there is customers, and if we managed, according to the standards, to leverage these opportunities, which there are in automotive, which is steel, if we get it at the right quality, aluminium, nickel, cobalt, lithium, copper, PGM still, because also electric vehicles won't kill ICE cars and internal combustion engine vehicles in the nearer future. We can do great things specifically with value addition in Africa.
Martina, thank you so much for your time. For more insights, you can go to miningindaba.com.